Today we have Eric Trundy on the show with us. He's a really good comedian in Greensboro, North Carolina. Eric, I'm just going to let you introduce yourself and tell everyone about you.
Thanks. I think it's funny saying really good comedian in Greensboro. Two things don't go together. If I was really good, I wouldn't be in Greensboro.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm a comic. I'm out of work. So that's about it, really. Yeah. Been doing it, I guess, 9 years now.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been a while. And I've been full-time 8.5.
And you're originally from Boston?
Just outside of Boston, a place called New Bedford, Mass. It's like one of the worst fucking cities. Can I swear on here?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
just double checking. I was 30 seconds in and I was dropping F-bombs. So from a city called New Bedford, Mass, which is between like Boston and the Cape, basically. And it's one of the worst cities in the country, which is why I'm in the South now.
Now, you didn't start comedy until you moved to the South, though, right?
I didn't start comedy until I was in Greensboro, which makes
no
sense.
sense.
Yeah. I come from near Boston and up north. I was, a couple hours from New York. I could have just gone there, but yeah, man. We were talking about podcasts and Rogan and stuff before we started. My last job that I had, I've listened to comedy my entire life. Like, some of my earliest memories are listening to 8 tracks when I was 5, 6 years old. I used to listen to Rodney Dangerfield and Richard Pryor and all that stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Wow.
Steve Martin, and it was like the only consistent thing. So when podcasts really picked up, I was listening to CDs of comedians at work and podcasts and stuff like that, and then I got some health news at a point, and I was just like, fuck it, dude. I'm listening to all this comedy, and I get this health news, and I was like, what, am I gonna fucking die without ever doing that? And then I literally just Googled comedy clubs. This is when I lived in Greensboro.
Oh, wow.
I was I had been thinking about it, but I was in Roanoke, Virginia. It's not really a comedy mecca, not the comedy mecca that
Not really mecca of
Greensboro
anything.
is. And then, I found the comedy clubs out here. I drove over to the Comedy Zone in my work van, and I saw what it looked like, and I said, fuck this place. And then I drove by the Idiot Box, and I said, I think I like that place better. And I went in, and that was it, man.
Nice.
So, yeah.
It's funny. You're from one of the comedy meccas, So it's interesting.
Nothing about me makes sense. It's all stupid. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Imperfectly perfect.
Yeah,
So
something like that.
you've opened for some big acts too, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've worked with almost every big comic that I don't really set goals and stuff like that. I'm not an overly positive person, you know what I mean? But through just dumb luck and circumstance and thinking about it, I think I've opened for just about I've opened for and become friends with the comics all the comics whose CDs I had when I used to listen to them at work, I've opened for them.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What's the biggest act you've opened for?
Like venue or?
Well, the biggest comic you've opened for?
I mean, my anniversary of meeting Dave Attell just happened.
Oh, wow.
So that's fresh in my head.
That's a big one.
He's like super nice to me. Like, couldn't be a nicer guy. Doug Stanhope, just John Witherspoon.
Yeah.
We became friends.
He just recently passed away, right?
Yeah. It was brutal. So I met John years ago, and we got along really well. He's so generous and just a sweet, nice guy. And he is what he is. Like, when you see him in the movies, it's kind of John. You know what I mean? Like, that is who he is, but he was also really soft and sweet and kind, you know what I mean? And didn't take any shit either, you know what I mean? So he's not like a fucking pushover. Opened for him twice, I think, and then the third time, he was just like, hey, whenever you want, just let me know. And just call the venues, tell them I said it's fine, and I'll see you there. And I was like,
awesome.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you know, he knew exactly how much money I was making every time, and he would always tip me. He would give me more money, you know what I mean, to make sure I was, because sometimes when you're, you know, when you get to like a feature level, and they're like, hey, do you want to open for such and such? You're not going to make money, you know what I mean, if you're traveling to get there.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's some people I'll just go work with because it's fun.
Right.
And they're good people, and I'd much rather do that than, I've turned down more money to have more fun or a better experience, you know what I mean?
Oh, I understand.
A million times because I'm stupid, but he was one of the guys, he would tip you. It was just, you meet these comics who, like, after the weekend, like Dave Attell, like you learn how to be a comic, not necessarily on stage, how to function as a human in this setting by people who do it well. And, you know, Dave Attell is a perfect example, right? Like, so he brings, you know, now I do this very similar stuff, which was stuff I was already doing because I had experience running a comedy club. And then I see them doing it, it reinforces this stuff, but it's like, just be cool with the staff, which is basic human decency, right? Like, treat them well, but it's like, go out of your way. They're the ones who make the weekend good or not, and they decide whether you have a fun time or the crowd has a fun time. And if you just, so, you know, he would show up and just give everybody candy. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. It's just little shit. And now whenever I go, I always try to bring something for the staff, and you know what I mean? Just nice shit. Let's have a fun weekend together.